Welcome to Knicksfandom. This is an independent New York Knicks fan-based podcast, which was created by fans for fans. The show is hosted by LA Blackwell, Danny, and Flau. They'll discuss the issues surrounding the Knicks, the NBA, and various other sports-related topics. Join us. It's going to be a heck of a ride.
You don't want no problem with me. You don't want no problem with me. Welcome, everyone. This is episode 17 of our podcast known as Knicksfandom. It's great to be back, as always. I'm your host, LA Blackwell. Hope all our listeners out there are doing very well. I'm very glad to be joined by my co-host, Flo. How everything on your side, Flo?
LA, I'm good. How you doing today, man?
I'm good. Doing better than the Knicks did in this game that just went off the air, but we'll get into that. How about you, Danny D? How's everything on your side?
LA, I'm good, man. How's everything with you, man?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. We back. Knicks fandom in the house. And you know what we got to start with? Our weekly Knicks Roundup. Since our previous podcast, on Thursday, the 23rd, the Knicks lost to the Cavs 119-104. And on Saturday, the 25th, they lost to the 76ers 110-109. They also, on the 27th, they had a home game against the Raptors, which they lost 92-91. On Wednesday, the 1st of March, they had an away game against the Magic, which they won 101-90. And today, the same day of our podcast, March 3rd, I should say, they had an away game against the 76ers. They lost in a heartbreak at the end, 105-102. Since our last podcast, the Knicks went 2-3 in the previous games. Knicks total record now stands at 25-37, with 15-6 at the home and 10-21 on the road. Basically, it's 12th place at the playoffs start at this moment, I believe. So, fellas, what's your main thoughts right now regarding overall play of the Knicks since the last podcast? As usual, right now we'll start with you, Flo. What you got to say about the Knicks right now?
They stink.
Can you be a little more specific, man? Elaborate a little more.
They're a team that's still learning how to play defense, and we're getting closer and closer to the end of the season. They still don't know how to defend the pick and roll. They're learning their triangle offense. Overall, they're losing games to teams where they had a lead in, and they can't put the team away.
Thank you, Flo. You pretty much saying it like it is. We've been through this before, fellas. How about you, Danny D? What do you think about the Knicks' overall play right now?
Man, overall play is like a revolving door, man. We keep on repeating the same thing over and over and over. They don't play defense. They look confused out there. They don't know what's going on. You wave your backup guard, so you have other backup guards trying to fill roles. Right now, fellas, let's come to a consensus what we want to do. Do we want to try to win some games, or do we want to tank to get a draft pick? Let me know what we're going to do.
They should be tanking. I mean, they trying to win right now. I saw, thank you, Danny D. I saw Melo had something to say earlier about it, about he don't believe in tanking, which is what you're supposed to say. You're a professional. It's all, that's what I expect. But right now, they going nowhere fast, man. Really. It's like, it's the same thing we've been saying since the previous podcast before that. This team is still doing the same thing. They played a little bit better today. Lance Simon showed up, we're going to get into that. And, definitely helped them out with what their main weakness is, which is the defense, which we stated about. And that just show you how bad this team is, though. That one player really got to take up the handle for all the players up there. Like Melo is struggling so much with defense. He's helping out in that capacity. You can't even play Porzingis and Hernan Gomez at the same time now because they're struggling so much defensive-wise. He helps with that a lot, but also offensive-wise, he struggles as well, too, although he had 21 points today. It's just a bad spot right now for Knicks fans, man. Any particular game y'all want to talk about in particular? Starting with you, Danny D.
We can talk about tonight's game, which was atrocity. I don't know how many times we're going to keep on playing Philly and keep on having 2 points, a 1 point game, 1 point loss, a 1 point win. Because to me, honestly, guys, I don't even see why the game should be so close. Why is the game so close? You let Justin Anderson didn't even get no burn in Dallas. And you let him come here and score 19 on y'all. How? How is this possible? Justin Anderson, he wasn't even playing in Dallas.
I know.
At all.
They was chipping back and forth all day, him and Melo.
Yeah, Melo. This guy didn't even play in Dallas. And you let this dude come in and have 19 like you said. Oh, we're playing the Knicks. I got to get busy tonight.
That's their MO, you know. What can you say? How about you, Flo? What you think about the Knicks? Regarding this Philadelphia game right now, start with that one.
Well, they try to put up a fight. This was a back and forth game. They dominated the first quarter. Second quarter, they just seemed a little bit lacked energy. No effort whatsoever. Especially with Kyle O'Quinn defensively looks horrible. And, they try to put up a fight in the second half. It looked like Melo was about to get going once the ref gave Anderson a technical foul. But Melo overall had a bad shooting game. I'm still confused with the Knicks in terms of the way how they have Melo just focus on the jump shot. As tall as he is and with the size that he has, he should be backing guys a little bit more in the paint.
No, I hear you, but I don't think Melo doing that right now no more. I think he feel like he lost a step. He's going for the regular stuff. Even the last shot, two guys on him falling backwards and you taking a jump shot. That's not a shot you really want them to do at the trying to win a game. I didn't like that shot at all, But this is what you've been seeing with Melo. I mean, he lost a step. We all saw that. And I think that's what you're going to get right now. And this is why this team is not just his fault, but right now he's not a number one and number two guy on a winning team. That's just the way it is, I think it is right now. You're asking him and Porzingis to do these type of things. Porzingis is still a rising star. He still have a lot of injury issues. And this is what you're going to see, an inconsistent team right now. And, and that's what happened. Inconsistent team, inconsistent results. As you saw today, their bench was horrible. They gave them nothing again. They starters did well for the most part. But this is a game you should have won. Joe Embiid is not playing. I don't know how you lose this type of game. It's never been that close to me.
That's a shame.
I don't know what to say.
It's
like, what are you going to do at this point, man? And then the thing is, if you have Melo and you have Thomas, who played well today, I got to give him credit. I've been real hard on him. He's playing better. He's healthier. But honestly, I don't want that type of player as my starting small forward or power forward in this type of team, whatever position, small forward, I should say. I don't want to be my starter on this team. And this is the case, you have to have him taken up for everybody else that's struggling. This team is going to continue to struggle. This team is not that good to have him as your main starter right now. You can't have that. This is not Cleveland. This is not Golden State that can take the chance with just about one-dimensional pretty much player that he is right now. So I don't know. Anything else you want to say about this game, or you want to talk about some other games that that I broke down earlier, score wise?
We should talk about the Toronto game.
Okay, what do you think about that game, Flo?
I don't know if you guys were able to see after the game. Courtney Lee put out a video, 35-second video, I believe, on his Instagram account, where it showed that he was actually fouled by P.J. Tucker. And I remember when Melo took that shot he missed, I can see Courtney Lee walking off the court, rolling his eyes. He looked real steamed, and he was real angry. He did not want to shake anybody in Toronto's hands. He came off the court real vexed. And I was trying to figure out what was the reason. So lo and behold, like I said, he put out a video on Instagram, 35-second clip of him being fouled by P.J. Tucker. Let me rephrase that statement. Not fouled. He was mugged by P.J. Tucker.
Yeah, he's a physical player. If you get away with it, Knicks haven't been getting calls all year, though. If you notice, even Rose drives, even tonight's game, he didn't get a call when he got hit from the side. But, continue, Flo.
But that's where the problem is, L.A. The fact of the matter that, unfortunately, we have the wrong coach. If Tom Thibodeau was coaching this team, if the Knicks had lost that game, that Toronto game that they lost on, now I can't remember what day it was, so I apologize. After the game,
That was
probably would have
27th
lashed out,
February.
to the media against the referees. And lo and behold, the Knicks would have had a benefit of the doubt of getting all the calls in the next game.
Yeah, but, I hear where you're coming from, but it shouldn't have been that close, man. You didn't have Lowry that played in that game. DeRozan just went off on him with 37 points, man. Come on. And then the last play of the game, I even contacted you before the game was even over, and I told you this game was done. I knew they was going to give it up. I knew Tom was going to find some way to mess it up. And they got a bad switch, and Rose was holding him at the end. With a foul to give, and he didn't even give the foul. So come on, this game shouldn't have been that close, man. And this is what these bad teams do. They find bad ways to win, and that's what this Knicks team been doing all year, man. How about you, Dan D? What you got to say about the Toronto game?
And weren't we up, guys? We were up, weren't we?
As always. They blow 17-point leads all the time, man.
7 points to us. I said, 17-point lead. Like you said, Larry's not playing, and just come back and let him run. It's just, like I said, it's just awful, horrible. And with that, you have to have the coaching adjustment, things like that, and have the pieces to fit in to understand. And Jeff, I don't know if he's stunned. He looks surprised and things like that. I just don't know. I just don't know.
I don't know.
Also, gentlemen,
go ahead, Flau.
One thing that I'm starting to realize, they're having all these leads early in the game, they're blowing it. So I'm starting to question a lack of conditioning. What do you guys think about that?
It could play a part. I just don't think this Knicks team is that athletic, I should say. I noticed that in the Cleveland game, when they played that, they look a step slow against them throughout that whole game, man. Just looking at them, just like athletic-wise, jumping-wise, all those things.
Yeah. But then usually you know how it is because you know how they are with back-to-back. Back-to-back, they're horrible when they play back-to-backs. They just can't do it. They come out sluggish and tired and look awful, like they went drinking out the last night. Back-to-back, they just can't do it.
I hear
you said that can't be an excuse when it's a back-to-back. I was like, come on, man. Porzingis, these guys, this is what you're getting paid for.
And Porzingis got to just try to stay healthy. That's the thing I'm really starting to worry about him, man. You could be the most talented player in the NBA, but if you can't stay on that floor, it don't matter. It's a big reason why LeBron and Michaels and the Kobe's are revered. Them guys stay healthy for the most part, And with him being 7 feet and already having back and knee problems and leg issues, and it even been 3 or 4 years in the league, I don't know if you can really build around him the same way that he's going to be your number one star, which I don't think going to be anyway. I mean, what do y'all think about that? Do you think he's going to be your number one star?
Go ahead, D.
Number one star? To me, no. I don't think so. Besides the injuries and stuff like that, and it's a certain kind of factor that there's certain people that you can see, you can tell that's going to have it. Besides the scoring stuff like that, you have to be a vocal and be a leader to not only lead a team but also bring other people in and make others around you better. And besides the scoring, I don't know if I think Porzingis makes others around him better. That's just me personally. For now, it might change, but just for now, that's what I see.
Okay. How about you, Flo? What you think about that?
Well, one issue I have with Porzingis, besides that he's having a problem staying healthy, is that there's some rumors floating around, and I'm starting to realize that this guy really can't create his own shot. He still has to learn how to post up properly, especially as tall as he is. He's 7 feet 2 inches tall. He still has to learn to post up against smaller guys. That's a problem, man. He definitely needs to get in the weight room and bulk up. Start eating a little bit more. Leave the pizza alone, and start eating on some rice, and some protein shakes,
I hear you. I mean, he's only 21. I'm not trying to bash him. I think he's a great young talent. I think he's going to, really lead the Knicks down the road. But I think you have to really look at that when you're trying to see where this team is going to go the next year, especially with the draft and free agency. Because once Melo leaves this team, whether he's just released, traded, or whatever have you, you have to see if this is going to be the guy you really think is going to build around as your number one guy. I think he's going to be number two. So
exactly, that's what I'm saying. As the go-to player, like you were saying, as the man, like the last seconds. Let's give the ball to KP.
I don't think he's that type. I mean, you have to have a certain type of team, maybe like they did with Dirk and Dallas. If you put a lot of defense around them. But those type of teams are very hard to be consistently winning. As like it's not like a team like you see Cleveland or Golden State. They got a lot of pieces. So to me, if the Knicks, they got to really look at this draft and try to see if they can really hope to get high in this draft, which they can't control that. You can't really see where that's going. It's about the ping pong balls. But you have to think about that down the road. You know, everybody keeps saying get rid of Melo, build around Porzingis. Some of these things right now is making me a little worried right there. And I think you really have to think about what this draft is going to be in this free agency down the road, you know. Just something to think about, you know. That's what I was thinking about earlier. But just back to that Cleveland game, you talking about like they look a little slow, and just athletic-wise, these are the things the Knicks have to really think about to me going forward, especially with Phil Jackson. If he's still going to be here, you know, making the blueprint of this team, you have to really think about the other teams that's in the league and see where you stand around with these other teams, and see where you basically have, you know, is this team going to make it being better, or is it going to continue to build for 3-4 years? I don't know. That's the question right now. And I think that's what's finding really frustration as Knicks fans right now. I don't know.
LA.
Go ahead, Flo.
You just mentioned a word. That's a loaded word. Blueprint. Does Phil Jackson have a blueprint in mind?
I don't know. I would hope so by this point. You have to figure some way to build with this team, but right now it's like I don't know. We haven't heard anything from, the beginning of the season? When the last time you actually heard him say something about where this team is going right now? It's been a while.
We've seen him. We've seen him on that bus where he threw Melo under. That's where we've seen him.
Oh, man. I hear you. But anything else y'all want to talk about regarding the weekly Knicks Roundup, fellas? Anything else stand out?
I got one more statement.
Go ahead, Flo.
I want to talk about that Orlando game. I don't know if you guys noticed. Kyle O'Quinn had a couple of defensive lapses. Coach Hornacek said pulled him out the game. He was shouting and pouting. I'm a little bit concerned. Maybe Phil might decide to move O'Quinn in the offseason. What do you guys think about that?
You can start, Danny D.
Nah, I like O'Quinn. At least he's showing some fight and he's actually playing. Unlike Noah. No offense, Noah. I'm just saying, brother. Just saying.
He's injured. He's not hurt, as they say. Or you're injured or you're hurt.
Hey, man, he wasn't injured when he was signing that $72 million contract. But, you know, O'Quinn
was running all the way to the bank.
Yeah. No, but I like O'Quinn. O'Quinn, even though the things like that, O'Quinn, he goes and he shows effort. Even though his last year, he shows effort. He defends and he's a rim protector and he rebounds the ball. I like O'Quinn, and that's the only person and he can be consistent when he gets some playing time. Because remember, when Noah was hurt or injured, was not playing, Kyle O'Quinn started and produced.
No, that's true. And he's one of the few Knicks, like you said, that got a lot of fight. He's physical. The team definitely could use that. They're not the most physical team or the most, aggressive team when it comes to that nature. I was talking to some other people I know regarding the Knicks and things. They was asking who you consider, that's the most physically or, kind of the guy that's like a defensive stalwart on this team. And it's really kind of hard to pick. We was talking about maybe Courtney Lee and maybe O'Quinn. That doesn't bode well for a team that's trying to compete, especially in the East, I mean, would you go on this team that's like the real heart and soul of this team, that the real more aggressive type of players? I mean, any of y'all could step in with that answer.
It was supposed to be no.
Go ahead, D.
It was supposed to be Noah. That's who it was supposed to be. Remember, he was supposed to be the person.
Exactly. He hasn't really done that. And that's a big thing back to the defense that they haven't shown throughout the whole season. You got anything else to say about that, Flo?
Again, LA, you made a statement. I'm perplexed. You mentioned the word heart. When did the Knicks have any heart all season?
But that's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's not even just about the athleticism or the X and O's. These things are all, on top of each other, one on the next.
No, you had another person too. He plays for the Wizards now, Brandon Jennings. He showed heart. He showed heart too. When it was problems like that, he got the technical. He got in people's faces and he played. Brandon Jennings, who's now a Wizard. All right.
That's true.
I don't know.
One of the more feisty competitors.
Yeah.
But I just think all these things you have to look at as a team from top to bottom, especially the team that's been so inconsistent like this team has. It's not just about coaching and the X and O's. With, I think the whole build-up of how this team was, you're just not seeing it like we thought they were. We was going by some of the talent, and we thought they was like more from what they had years before, but Rose and Noah, like you stated previously, is not the player they used to be. And the same thing about Melo. He lost a step two. All these things is a kind of contributing factor to where this team is at right now. But, thank you, fellas, for that. That's a weekly Knicks Roundup. And we're just going to go right into our next segment. And I want to go right into tip-off. And starting with tip-off, it's basically, as we always say, is a topic that we would like to relate to any sports-related topic or NBA topic that we find interesting. And in turn, as usual, hopefully you, the listener, will find it interesting. Start off this week with tip-off. Starting with you today, Flo. You got anything for tip-off?
LA, yes, I do. I don't know if you and Danny D were able to take a look at a previous aired episode of, oh man, what is the name of the show? But it's with ESPN shows with Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman. I forgot the name off the top of my head, but first, thank you. First take. Stephen A. mentioned that Phil Jackson is trying to get himself fired. What do you guys think about that?
Did he elaborate? Like, would he say specific examples? I didn't see the episode.
He stated that, no one has really seen him. He released Brandon Jennings. He brought back Chaz Randall, a younger player. He was trying to shop Derrick Rose. He's with all the moves he's made in terms of signing Noah, then Noah's out for the season with a knee injury, which is still weird because it seems to me Noah's been playing with a bad hamstring. Now he has a knee injury. So I'm starting to wonder. What do you guys think about that specifically?
It's an interesting theory. How about you, Dandy? I'll let you start with it first. What you think about that?
With him trying to get fired? Yeah, first of all, he should have been got fired a long time ago. But then the thing it goes to what everybody's trying to get on Dolan, things like that. I really like Dolan is really stepping aside and letting Phil do his thing. He doesn't want to be an owner that's jumping in. You understand what I'm saying? So he's staying out the limelight and let Phil do his thing. But now, as an owner, you have to go in. You have to stop the bleeding. Enough is enough, But the thing is, once he gets fired, he still earns his paycheck. So basically, he's getting paid, get up the golden parachute in retirement, whatever, because he got fired because he still got to pay his money. Derek Fisher's still getting paid too.
But do you think he's spitting a bit? Like this is his way out?
Possible. Yeah.
Or yeah, it could be. But also, like we were saying before, he really doesn't know what he's doing. Exactly. That could be the truth. He doesn't know. He really doesn't know.
I think that's what it is.
Remember, he was a coach. He was a coach. He never what? I gotta go on road trips and actually scout. Why? Because that's part of the job, Phil.
Yeah, I think that's what you're seeing right now. I don't think he knows which way to go, up or down. Yeah. So I think he just feels stuck right now, and he doesn't know what to say. Because when he did come out and say something, the media jumped on him with the LeBron and the Melo thing. So it's like I feel like basically, doing that Nicki Minaj, man. He hiding in the background right now, not really saying much. Well, how about you, Flo? What you think about it right now? You think he's spitting a bit? This is way out?
I think that the players are not. They don't want to tank the season, but I believe Phil really wants to tank the season and get himself fired. It just seems to me that he's just in his own little world right now. You really haven't seen him out in the public. I think you've seen him tweet more than our current president. you know, with the Posse-gate nonsense, it's just a lot of things just going on with Phil, especially with him losing his breaking up with his fiance. This guy's not the same person. Then you got the photo of him appearing on the bus, looking disheveled and lost and clueless.
But it could be a legend. I don't even know if that's really him. Was it him? I don't even know.
To me,
if it ain't, he got a good doppelganger, man.
I don't know. There's any tall guys in New York that actually looks like Phil taking the bus. I highly doubt that.
It just look real weird, man. But I hear you, Flo. I'm in between.
I think Phil wants. I honestly think Phil wants free money. I honestly believe that. I don't think he wants to work no more. He's not willing to put in the commitment. This is a 24/7 job. Even when you're sleeping, you gotta have your cell phone on just in case.
Mm-hmm. You got to pick up the phone, not let it just ring.
That's true. I gotta agree with you on that part. Right now, it's looking that way, but a lot will determine if he re-signs that contract. If he really want to get out, he can get out because after this year or so, he can refuse to re-sign up if he doesn't want to keep those last 2 years. So he can get his out if he really wants to, if he wanted to give up the money. But we'll see as time goes by. Go ahead, Flo.
But that's the problem, LA. I think what happened when this deal was set up between Phil and Mr. Dolan, I think Dolan approached him and said, listen, I'm going to give you $60 million. I think Phil said, yes, I'll sign right now. I think Phil loves money so much. I can't see him opting out of his contract. I think he's obsessed with money and really loves to make a lot of money.
Yeah, I hear you, but we talking like Rocky Balboa, man. We talking about your rep, man. Come on. This guy's supposed to be a winner. You don't want to be losing and then have your rep keep going down. At some point, it's like either you're going to step up and do the job or you won't. Money's not going to buy that bad. He's not broke. There's no reason for them just going just for that at this point. But we'll see. Go ahead, Phil.
LA, but that's the problem. You talk about his rep. His rep was damaged the first time he signed that contract on the dotted line. His rep was tarnished. He's not a president of basketball operations. This is the reason why I call him the $60 million intern. He's not a president. He is a former Hall of Fame NBA head coach. That's what he is.
Well, can't disagree with you with that right now. That's what he's looking like. That's exactly what he's looking like. But, thank you for that, Flo. Appreciate it. How about you, Danny D? You got anything for our tip-off?
All right, so our tip-off, I'm talking about the guys we're going to talk about on the West Coast. We're going to talk about the Lakers, right? So according to U.S. Today and also the L.A. Times, we're talking about Jeanie Buss. Jeanie Buss put a restraining order on her two brothers, Johnny and believe it's Jim Buss. So what happens, guys, is that together they have a family trust fund and they own 66% of the Lakers. But that's divided between the three. But when her father died in 2013, they gave her sole control of the Lakers. So she has a majority of control. So if the two brothers want to go against her, they really can't because she controls. But the thing is, she has to be on the board of directors to be control of the Lakers. So what the two brothers tried to do, they tried to have a meeting to get her kicked out of the control board so they can have control. So now she filed a restraining order against her brother so they couldn't have a secret meeting to vote her out. How you guys feel about that?
Sound like a coup.
That's what she was like, nah. It's like, nah, it ain't going down, play. It's like, it ain't going down, man. She filed a restraining order. It's like, it's not happening, Captain.
I don't know. What do you think about that, Flo?
That's grimy on the brothers' part. Real grimy.
Two of them. Yeah, both of them.
that's grimy. That's
because they were also because they were saying because if not to interrupt because they were saying because if that happens now, if they get control, what if they? Because you remember she just hired Magic. What if they try to get? What if they could do that? Get rid of Magic and bring Mike Kupchak back?
Oh, they don't need to bring Mitch Kupchak back, man. He was there long enough. They couldn't get nothing done. Even when you had Kobe in there and they tried to Howard move and it still didn't work. It's going to be hard for them to do that. Because right now, Magic one of the most beloved people in the Lake organization. And, you know, that brings like a breath of fresh air. So I don't see that really happening. But, you know, stranger things have happened. But, you know, I guess we'll see. What do you think about Danny D since you brought it up overall?
Oh, man, there's some suckers, man. Let's just run her do her thing, man. She got it, man. That's the 2000. If that was the case, when the father passed away, he would have let y'all two be controller, not her. There was a reason why he did that.
That's true. Very true. Okay, but thank you for that, D. Appreciate it. And just one little issue I had for my tip-off question. Not so much question, but just something I saw in the news. I don't know if y'all saw it. It was basically regarding Mike Francesa. You know him as the WF fan, sports talk radio host. And it was something that came up regarding Becky Hammon. And it basically was a story. It was saying one of the guys was asking, do you think we'll see a female head coach in the NBA? And basically Mike Francesa, not to quote him, but, you know, basically he was saying that he don't see that happening. You know, he's saying it's a gender situation and we don't have that, you know, in our league. And he doesn't see that happening. And just to go on a little further, the guy basically wanted to make like $1,000 bet against Francesa within like the next 5 to 6 years. He believed there would be a female coach, you know, in the NBA. And that's basically what the main premise of what I'm asking. Do you think that would happen in your opinion? And if you think so, yes, why do you think that? And if not, why don't you think that? Starting with you, you know, anybody could jump in there. But, you know.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. But I believe that it'll probably come out because didn't Popovich have an assistant coach that was a female?
Yeah, that's the same one, Becky Hammon.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, because she won the summer league championship in the San Antonio with San Antonio. But I really think it will come out of Pop Camp. I believe so. But it would have to be a team. Not on a rise, but I have to see like not a losing team, but like a team that's not doing too well, and it's really like, you know what, they're like they got to change it up and do something different. But the only thing I also believe that if it's a female head coach, she would have to have a strong vocal assistant head coach and a strong team with her to do so to succeed.
Okay, thank you, Danny D. How about you, Flo? What you think about that?
Now with the NBA, you have female referees on the court. You hope one day there'll be in a female NBA head coach. And right now, Becky Hammon is doing a great job as one of the assistants for the San Antonio Spurs. Hopefully, she'll be the one that breaks the barrier. Which is surprising to me is that I'm surprised Cheryl Miller has never become that coach. As talented and as intelligent as she is, she knows the game of basketball very well. I'm very surprised she's never been a head coach in the NBA.
Yeah, I understand. I think it's more of her personality. I think she come off a little, I would say like aggressive, but I don't think she had the personality to deal with a lot of the people in the NBA. Sometimes I see some people like, not so much a little bit on the arrogant side they felt she was, but she's like considered like the best female basketball player almost ever, as some people say. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I understand there's a reason to be that. And maybe because she wasn't a woman, they wouldn't look at it that way. But I have read certain things that people said that about. I think it's going to happen eventually. Like you said, Flo, regarding the referees, the NBA was pretty much the first major league that allowed that to happen. And because the NBA and basketball itself is more of a non-contact sport, it's not like football or something of that nature where I don't see something like that ever happening, at least not right in the near future. I think this is the one sport you could make that happen. So, and if she's already doing assistant coaching with the Spurs, they'll be used to seeing that. Popovich, he may have as a successor. Who knows down the road. But I'm just shocked that some people think it's so out there that's not going to possibly happen. I think it's definitely something that could happen. It just depends. I don't know if it's going to be Becky Hammon herself, but it may be somebody else. Not too distant future after that, even if it's not her. But thank you, fellas, for that. That was our tip-off segment. But before we get to our next segment, I'd like to take care of some housekeeping issues. Immediately on the break, we'll jump into our final segment known as Hot Topics. First, a big thank you to our listeners out there. We definitely appreciate every one of you for tuning into our podcast. Please make sure to subscribe in iTunes and to our brand new YouTube channel. We are really trying to move up in those rankings, and subscriptions plays a big part in their ranking systems. Also, leave a comment on iTunes and feel free to share our podcast with your friends. It would be greatly appreciated. Lastly, our show can also be found on Stitcher, Google Play, Pocket Cast, and some of the most recent shows can now be found on SoundCloud as well. If you want to reach us directly, be sure to contact us on our Facebook fan page and our new email address, known as Knicksfandom@gmail.com. And also our brand new Twitter account, Knicks_fandom. Thanks again. Now back to our regularly scheduled podcast. And we're back. And now it's time for our segment known as Hot Topic. In our hot topic for today, we want to look at the brighter side of the NBA in this episode. We would like to acknowledge some of the positive deeds that some NBA players have committed and their impact on our society per se, other than just on the NBA court. Therefore, we ask the question, in our opinions, what players, past or present, may be considered the most charitable NBA players? We'll start with you today, Flo. Who's your most charitable NBA player?
Well, you know who I go with? My man, Carmelo Anthony.
Melo, what you got for Melo? How you helping out the community out there right now?
Well, with Carmelo Anthony, during the 2004 tsunami, he donated $35,000 for relief efforts. Also, in 2005, he created the Carmelo Anthony Foundation. In 2006, he created the Carmelo Anthony Youth Development Center on December 14. Also, he raised $1.3 million for the Living Classroom Foundation. That's a nonprofit foundation. It provides job training, education, and community service for over 35,000 adults in East Baltimore. He also established the Mellow Hood Movement in Baltimore. It's an annual 3-on-3 basketball tournament. Hood, HOOD, is an acronym that stands for Holding Our Own Destiny. Last but not least, he support the following charities: Wild Aid, Soul for Souls, SOLE, 4, the number 4, Souls, SOULS, the Boys and Girls Club of America, and also the LeBron James Family Foundation.
Very, very nice. Thank you, Flo. All right. How about you, Danny D? Who's your most charitable NBA player?
The most charitable player that I'm going with right now, I'm going with my man Luol Deng from the LA Lakers.
Okay.
He's an 11-year veteran, and he's been involved in numerous initiatives over the years in different countries. We're talking about, because he's from Sudan, so he helps out the homeless in the U.S. He works along with children's hospitals and charities in the UK, and he also helps the war refugees in his native Sudan. And that's coming from NBA.com, because, I'm not trying to get in trouble for no plagiarism, brothers. And he won the J. Walter Kennan Citizens Award in 2013-14. And he also has enoughproject.org. And basically, that's just to promote peace in South Sudan And he also has the Luau Down Foundation, which is basically a nonprofit organization that uses basketball as a tool to give those who need. So that's in Africa, the U.S., and the U.K. So he has those 3 countries and he helps out. And also, I did not know doing the research too that Luau Deng learned basketball from his older brothers, and that older brothers learned how to play basketball from Manute Bol.
Didn't know that either.
Yeah. So that's how they got. That's how it's like basically like a tradition that came through. It just came 360. Very interesting.
Okay. Thank you very much, Danny D. Appreciate that. And for me, I'm going to do a little throwback. Although he's no longer in the league, I'm still going to go with Mount Mutombo. Dikembe Mutombo. I can't say his full name, man. He got a long name. But of the Democratic Republic of Congo, he's helped out a lot of people throughout his career. He's also known as one of the most generous athletes in the world, according to WearFanatics.com, and giving back to NBA. And the thing that stood out with me, he donated more than $30 million since becoming an NBA legend and built an entire hospital in the Democratic Republic of Congo. You know, and then during this hospital, they had a lot of issues within that area with malaria, diarrhea, malnutrition, all these things that you consider not minor, but things that you don't think will cause death for so many people. But they have so many people die, at least 5 million people died in the last decade due to that, and poverty and disease of that nature. Also, you know, also had HIV, AIDS, and things of that nature, which is why he donated this much money to build an entire hospital. And as well with the hospital, he paid for the flights of the DRC women's basketball and track teams for the Atlantic Olympic Games, and initiated plans to build a school in the DRC as well. So for me, it'd be Dikembe Mutombo, who donated at least $30 million, and also build an entire hospital to help his people over there, and also help with childhood diseases and things of that nature, try to eradicate that at the same time. So that was our hot topic for the day, fellas. Anything y'all want to talk about that regarding that stands out that we maybe didn't know or just want to add to it? Just overall.
You throw what you call. We probably have to throw my man David Robinson in there too, man.
How about him? What you thought about that?
They had about David Robinson. They talked about how he donated like 10% of his annual income over the years, and he started the Carver Academy. And he actually supporting some back. That's about like in 1997. He donated $5 million and started his academy, the Carver Academy, and helped out children in the poorest neighborhoods in San Antonio. That's David Robinson also. Throw that in there.
The Admiral.
The Admiral, man.
Very admirable, man. You know.
Hey, that's what they got him. That's what they said.
Very nice. Also, another person I thought about who actually contributes a lot overall was Mr. LeBron James. And I know I get him on a lot regarding like all on the floor stuff, but off the floor he's really done a lot, you know. One of the things he's done was the Akron Promise, which allowed sponsored scholarships in University of Akron at about $40,000 per child for every current elementary and middle school student in the Akron public school system that meets his requirements. It's estimated that many as 2,300 children will receive these scholarships, which will equal about $920,000, not including, you know, inflation, which is about $1 million. So he's definitely helping a lot of people in that area. He's also listed about, I believe, the 20th charitable athlete in the world and the 6th most altruistic sports person on the planet, with about $1.3 million for the Living Classroom Foundation, which he also contributes as well. So, you know, a lot of players, you know, you think about the salary, you think about some of the negative things they do off the court. And we just want to know some of the things they do on the court. I mean, some of the things they do off the court, which is sometimes negative, but they also do something that's very positive. So we wanted to do a little shine on that as well. Thank you, fellas. I appreciate that for the hot topic. And that leads into our last and final segment for today, which is our closing remarks. And for our closing remarks, I think we'll start with you today, Flo. How about you? You got anything for our closing remarks?
Once again, thank you guys so much for allowing me to be part of a great show. I want to thank all the listeners. Please subscribe, tell a friend. This is the best show. Knicks Fandom, Knicks fans, and for NBA fans all over the world, Knicks Fandom. all the way up.
Thank you, Flo. Appreciate it. How about you, Danny D? What you got for our closing remarks for today?
Hey, guys. Hopefully the storm is almost over. I don't know if we're going to make the push for the playoffs, but if we do, let's try not to get the 8th. Let's try to get the 7th seed, all right? Let's just try to hope. We're not trying to see Cleveland in the first round. I don't know. We're in 12th. But I want to thank you guys once again, and I want to thank the listeners for listening, and also keep on subscribing. Thank you for all your support. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Danny D. Definitely got to agree. We want the Knicks to win, man. It makes the show much more interesting, give us more things to talk about during this show. But as always, we're going to be here for your fans either way. We're definitely here. We're here with you, man. We fans as well. So hopefully the Knicks can turn around. If not, hopefully get the top draft pick in the draft this year. That's the main thing I'm looking at as well. But, thank you, fellas, as always. Much appreciated. Until next time, a big thank you to our loyal listeners. We hope it was a great show for you. I definitely enjoyed my time here. Please continue to spread the word. Have a great week, everyone. Take care. See ya.